Chairman of the now dismissed Caretaker Committee of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has criticized the recent judgment that dismissed the 7-man Caretaker Committee of the party. A Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt on Monday dismissed the 7-member Caretaker Committee of the APC in the state, led by Okocha, which was appointed by the National Working Committee of the party. Justice Sika Aprioku, in a ruling in a suit filed by Sam Etetegon, Banath Ezemoye, Ezekiel Obom, and others on behalf of the elected APC executives in the state, reinstated the executive led by Emeka Bekele as the legitimate leadership of the party in Rivers State. The court issued a perpetual injunction against the Okocha-led Caretaker Committee, prohibiting them from interfering with the Bekele-led executive until the end of their 4-year term. In reaction to the ruling in Port Harcourt on Monday, Okocha expressed dissatisfaction with Justice Aprioku's handling of the case, despite petitions alleging the judge's bias and his refusal to recuse himself from the case. He said Justice Aprioku acknowledged that a petition had been written against him in open court, adding that the counsel to the Caretaker Committee showed the judge an acknowledged copy of the petition against him. Okocha said, "It's not a surprise for us that the judge took that voyage, the voyage to perdition. In law and what we know about the judiciary, when a case of bias is raised against a trial judge before the matter commences, what the trial judge does is to recuse himself from the matter. In other words, he could have said, 'I wash my hands off,' just like Pontius Pilate washed his hands off on the matter that concerned Jesus Christ. Because we had alleged that he was biased and he didn't even hide it, and to pretend as though he didn't see our petition." And the court, the secretary of the party, Chief Eric Wibani, was spotted by the judge and asked to stand up, and he stood up. And the judge, in an open court, told him, "You people went and wrote a petition against me. You people should know that I'm human." Oh. He told the party's secretary in court, in an open court, that we wrote a petition against him. In other words, he had acknowledged that there was a petition against him, that he shouldn't try the matter. It was already decided. He continued to say, and in the course of the proceedings, the senior advocate of Nigeria who represented the party also showed him an acknowledged copy of the petition that was written against him. And he continued. He said he wasn't going to respect it. Don't forget, in my press briefing in Abuja, I said that Justice Sika Aprioku was contracted for a hatchet job against the PDP. Have you people forgotten that I said so? He claimed some persons had met with the judge behind closed doors and agreed with him to deliver a judgment that will embarrass the party at the national level, Okocha alleged. Okocha also accused the state government of manipulating the outcome of the judgment. He further urged the APC members in Rivers State to remain calm and resolute. Ndamzi, a lot of things have been said. A lot of allegations has been leveled against the judge by the SYL CTC chairman of APC in Rivers State. What is your take on this matter and the developments so far?
Okay, thank you very much. We'll start by Honorable Tony Okocha criticizing the judgment of the State High Court. Well, he is within his rights to give his opinion as to issues, as to what emanated from that judgment. But that will not take away the fact that it is a court of competent jurisdiction that have given that judgment. It is a final judgment that he can only appeal. At this point, him criticizing the judgment and what emanated in the court, criticizing the judge, that the judge ordinarily should have recused himself from handling the matter. At this point, all that cannot hold water. The only thing he can do now, which he is within his rights under the law, is that he should appeal the judgment.
Okay.
Yes. In his appeal, all that could be noted in his appeal, that at some point a petition was written against the judge and all that. He can use that to formulate, his lawyers knows what to do. They can use that to formulate issues in the higher court. Then secondly, you see why we keep having issues, in our various political parties in Nigeria is because politicians in Nigeria have refused to play by the rules. Because if parties play by the rules, we will have less conflicts and disputes as to the internal, who controls the internal machinery of the party. But because of greed, intention to grab power unlawfully, you see them boycotting the rules. You see them even abdicating what the party constitution says. That is the reason we have all these squabbles. How can a national leadership of a party truncate an elected state executive? I mean, with due respect to the leadership of the party, that is, I see that as political rascality. It shows how disrespectful our leaders, our politicians, the crop of politicians we have in Nigeria today can be to the law. Because electoral laws are very strict and they are sui generis. Okay? Politicians always want to cut corners.
This has to do with internal party.
Yes, of course.
The electoral law of Nigeria may not be binding on political parties because they have their own law, they have their own constitution, right? And then you have the NEC, the National Executive Council of the party, you have the National Working Committee. Now, it ordinarily should be the NEC, that's the highest decision-making body. But it's the National Working Committee that sees the day-to-day running of a party or a union, depending on the organization, in this case, a political party. So some powers in the NEC are vested in the NWC. And in this case, the NWC has sat and they looked at the matters before them and said that Emeka Bekee led executive, they are guilty of anti-party activities. So to a large extent, there will also be provisions in the Constitution that will empower the national body to take action on state executives to call them to order.
Yes, you see, we cannot look at the various political parties' constitution and bylaws without relating them with the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act, it's looking like the mother to the party constitutions, various party constitutions. So why am I saying this? Yes, you made allusion to NEC, National Executive Committee, and the National Working Committee.
National Executive Council.
And the National Working Committee. The NEC, it's the highest policy-making body in the various political parties. Whether they have the powers to make these policies or not, they should make these policies in line with what the law says. If they are making policies that can, enable participants or beneficiaries act unlawfully, then it means the policy shouldn't hold in the first instance. Now, Emeka Bekee's leadership in the state APC was an elected one. That is my point of view. And they are being accused of anti-party activity. Choma, let me ask, in Nigeria, which of them is guilty from anti-party activity? Beginning from
which of them president. Is guilty or who is free?
Who is free from anti-party activity? Beginning from Mr. President down. See, politicians in Nigeria lack character. They lack character. They don't have self-respect. In fact, they have disappointed Nigerians. They have disappointed Nigerians completely, to the fact that when they say a word, we don't take them seriously again. Now, I heard the news this morning, or rather yesterday, that the state APC the state APC chairman,
Emeka
Beke, is pledging to work with.
That was the next question I wanted. I was about to bring that up, because when you condemn the actions of the National Working Committee, hold on, when you condemn the actions of the National Working Committee dissolving Emeka Beke's executive and appointing Tony Okocha as the Caretaker Committee chairman in Rivers State, one would wonder, now, the same day that the court reinstated you as the APC chairman of the party in Rivers State, the same day you extend an invitation to the governor and you openly declare that the opposition party is going to work in line and the vision of a ruling party. Make it make sense to me. Is it not an anti-party? I mean, this was the reason in the first place. Your executive was dissolved the same day. Is that not actually, to a large extent, indicting himself and solidifying the reasons that the National Working Committee, dissolved his committee, the reasons they based their decision upon?
Yes, like I said earlier, his action, shows the character of persons at the helm of affairs. I mean, it is shameful. In my own opinion, it is shameful, and I think Chief Beke acted on his own interest, not the party's interest.
Now, if as the chairman or the leader of a party in the state, and he's working according to you in his own interest and not in the interests of the party
in the state.
Because
I can't remember.
What would you have the National Working Committee do?
Of course, at that point, he should face disciplinary sanctions.
Now, isn't not the disciplinary sanctions that led to the dissolving of his executive in the first place?
Yes. See, we need to reconcile this position.
All right.
Yes, an accusation was laid on him, and a disciplinary action was taken by the highest policy-making body of the party.
The second highest, National Working Committee.
The second highest body of the party. And he went to court to challenge that decision. In the instance now, the court have given a final judgment.
Now, if we look at this carefully, the question of jurisdiction, wouldn't it come into play? Because now this is a case of Emeka Beke against the APC national. The APC national body is involved. Apart from Okocha, that is the caretaker chairman. The APC national body is involved. If you recall the judgment of the appeal courts in the matter of Justice Wale's judgment and the case of jurisdiction, the appeal court clearly said, in matters concerning the state legislature, in matters concerning the governor, and federal institutions and bodies at the national level, the Federal High Court has exclusive jurisdiction over matters of such nature. The question would be, in your opinion, from your experience as a legal practitioner, would you say that the Rivers State High Court has the jurisdiction to entertain a matter bordering on the APC national?
Yes, in commencing such action, you look at where did the cause of action arise? That is, in commencing an action in civil litigation, the first thing a lawyer does is, where did the cause of action arise? The next thing we look at is parties to the action. Thirdly, the jurisdiction of the court. In my own opinion, if you look at where the cause of action arose, the cause of action arose in Rivers State.
Okay.
Yes, so therefore, the Rivers State High Court have proper jurisdiction to entertain that matter. The High Court is the proper place to commence the action, because the National Working Committee of the party
is the National Working Committee of the party? Is it domiciled in Rivers State or the Federal Capital Territory?
At this point, we are looking at APC as a party and not APC as a... APC is not a federal agency. Okay? If it were dispute arising between maybe APC in the state and a federal agency, then we'll be saying, okay, Federal High Court will arise. But in this case, the cause of action arose here in Rivers State. Okay. So the Rivers State High Court has jurisdiction to hear their matter. Okay. Chief Tony is in his rights, is within his rights to say whatever he wishes to say. And he also has the right of appeal. So he should gather his team of lawyers, let them look at the loopholes in the judgment and come up with a proper appeal. Now,
with the statement of Chief Emeka Beke, the reinstated APC chairman in Rivers State, wouldn't that even further buttress the arguments? Do you think these statements he's making is going to even help his matter at the appeal? Do you think it will help his matter? Because the National Working Committee, of course, will also leverage on some of these things that he is. And again, he's going to hit up the polity naturally. How are you a state party chairman and you're saying, whilst you're the opposition, you are pledging allegiance, because that's the meaning of that statement. You're pledging allegiance to a ruling party that you're actually supposed to play the role of opposition, to whom you're supposed to checkmate and also pull your party together, you know, to take over from them in the coming elections in 2027. Wouldn't that, to a large extent, you know, make the National Working Committee, don't they have a case like, okay, this is the reason in the first place you were dissolved, and on the day you were reinstated, you're still even doing the same, showing no remorse? Yes. But then, what is the way forward, and how do you see this playing out at the end of the day?
The way forward is simple. The courts will look at what happened. Firstly, were they validly elected as state executive committee members of the party? If they were, what led to their being disbanded, dissolution? Did they actually commit acts that could make the NWC take disciplinary actions against them? If the court, you know, is of the opinion that they have you know, offended their party constitution, then the court will look at what their party constitution says and align it with the decision of the National Working Committee and then the High Court as well. Yes, and also it goes ahead to show, you know, the character of people we put in positions of trust. Ordinarily, how would, you know, an opposition party which is supposed to be a watchdog, a watchdog to pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance. That shows the character of persons, and it should be discouraged.
All right. And then, with that statement, when you put it vis-a-vis Okocha's allegation that the executive arm of government in Rivers State actually manipulated or has a hand in the judgment, you know, I mean, isn't it time that Emeka Beke treads carefully? Chief Emeka Beke treads carefully and be careful of some statements, so that it doesn't look like the accusations of Tony Okocha, you know, has some iota of truth in it.